happening now. The biggest snowstorm of the season blowing into the tri-state. States of emergency in effect as some areas prepare for up to 2 feet of snow. Flakes already falling and sticking. Coastal flooding threatening beaches with the worst yet to come. Our team is live across the tri-state to guide you through what's ahead. And right now, this is a live look at Manhattan from Queens. We call it a live look, but you can barely see the skyline there. Some places already have half a foot of snow on the ground, and the heaviest snow and strongest winds still about 12 hours away. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gilma Avalos, and new tonight, Mayor Bill de Blasio declaring a state of emergency in New York City. And that means all non-essential travel is banned starting at 6 tomorrow morning. The snow starting to pick up in the city and disrupt air traffic already. 75% of flights canceled at JFK Airport, 70% of flights canceled over at Newark, and 80% at LaGuardia. New York City school buildings are closed tomorrow, all classes going remote. And you can see a full list of school closings across our area at the bottom of your screen. COVID vaccine appointments in the city and at some state-run sites have been rescheduled as well. And NJ Transit buses and trains suspended tomorrow with the exception of the Atlantic City line. Bottom line, if you're thinking about leaving your house tomorrow, don't. Just stay home because we could see near whiteout conditions at the peak of this storm. Our team is in place across the tri-state tracking the storm's every move for us. Storm Team 4's Matt Brickman is breaking down how your neighborhood will be affected. But let's start with meteorologist Janice Huff with what's happening right now. Janice?
Hi, Gilma. It's snowing everywhere. And yes, some areas across New Jersey have upwards of almost a half a foot of snow on the ground, including Stanton, New Jersey, with 5.5 inches so far. Wall with 5 inches, 4.5 in Woodbridge, East Brunswick with 4, and Berkeley with 3. Now you're saying that's not a whole lot of snow. We're not done yet. This is just the very beginning. The big storm hasn't made it here just yet. The coastal low hasn't formed, but that will happen late tonight, early in the morning. The winds will ramp up and the snow will be coming down even harder. Right now, we're seeing temperatures in the teens and 20s throughout the tri-state, and Storm Tracker 4 is tracking what's out there now. And there are some pretty good heavy snow bands now moving over towards Brooklyn and Coney Island, also from Middletown and Ocean Township up towards Edison and Westfield, moving north along I-95. Across Long Island, we're seeing lighter snow, but it is coming down there in Rocky Point, Brookhaven, all the way out to Southold. Smithtown, you're getting some snow as well. Light snow around Stamford. New Canaan, a heavy snow band just passed by you. And also over towards Ossining, the snow is coming down as well. There's the beginnings of the coastal storm. It's low pressure that's off to our south and west. When it gets to the coast, that becomes the nor'easter, and it cranks up the snow and the wind and the waves. Travel will become a lot more treacherous on Monday. That's when we could expect snowfall rates of maybe 2 to 3 inches an hour, maybe even more than that, and upwards of 1 to 2 feet of snow expected in many areas. The heaviest will fall in the afternoon. Whiteout conditions with 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts and moderate coastal flooding at high tide as that water's pushed on shore. This is the breakdown. The coastal area's immediate coastline will see less. There will be some mixing with some sleet at times. So as the farther west you go, the higher the totals. For New York City, it's generally between a foot and a foot and a half of snow. Maybe other parts of the boroughs 8 to 12, a little bit less to the east and more to the west. Upwards of 2 feet of snow in parts of New Jersey and into the Hudson Valley. We'll break it down more with Storm Team 4's Matt Brickman coming up in just a few minutes. Back to you.
Okay, Janice, thank you. And the snow really started falling in earnest in the city a few hours ago. It's already starting to stick over in Times Square. News 4's Ida Siegel live in Hell's Kitchen as the mayor says stay off the road. Ida.
Yep, that's right, Gilma. And you know, the snow at this point is still pretty light, but because it's been falling for all of those hours, it's actually starting to stick at this point. Check out the scene behind me here. This is 9th Avenue and 49th Street, and it's kind of slick at this hour. And you can bet this will look a lot worse in just a few hours from now, which is why the mayor is telling people they must stay home.
As light snow starts to blanket Manhattan streets, word is spreading about the mayor's emergency travel restrictions. Only essential workers are allowed to be out and about starting at 6 in the morning. Folks we spoke with say that's okay with them, as most are not looking forward to the possibility of a blizzard.
It'll be pretty when it first falls, but then dealing with it is such a problem. And sanitation doesn't get enough thanks for all that they do.
Tonight, restaurants like Mom's Kitchen are packing up their outdoor dining sheds, preparing to close for the day tomorrow. The city says all outdoor dining must shut down.
It's hard, obviously, because not only because of the pandemic, we have to our hours have been restricted, but now we're losing a whole day. Luckily, it is kind of like a Monday, so it's not as it's not like a weekend.
But lots of folks were out getting a final meal tonight before they end up stuck inside tomorrow.
We actually met up for a last-minute pint at the bar around the corner called Gaff, and we were just talking about how we're going to clean out the snow on bike paths so that delivery drivers can get through the snow.
That's right. Their plan is to shovel as many bike paths as they can. Delivery workers are among those who are allowed out tomorrow, along with sanitation workers, of course. The Department of Sanitation says they are ready to clear the roads. They've been loading salters and plows all evening.
We have been out brining since yesterday. We have brined, pre-liquid treated over 500 miles of roadway, some with more than 2 passes.
The MTA took articulated buses off of the roads and put chains on all the buses staying on the roads. Service will be reduced as most people will be required to stay home.
This is not a storm to underestimate. Take it seriously. This is a dangerous storm. And I ask people to get in mind that tomorrow is going to be a really tough day.
The mayor also announced that all public schools will be full-on remote tomorrow. Most private schools are closing, and also the majority of vaccination centers will be closed tomorrow. People will have to reschedule those appointments. Reporting live from Hell's Kitchen, Ida Siegel, News 4, New York.
Ida, thank you. Northern New Jersey expected to be in the bullseye of the storm, and that's where we find News 4's Phil Lipoff live in Morristown. Forest. Phil, what's it looking like there?
Well, Gilma, the bullseye you call it, people here in Morristown and Morris County area are used to the bullseye. 1 to 2 feet of snow expected tomorrow. How it looks like now, we're the only ones out here. Really, the snow has been coming down for the better part of the day, sticking a little bit on the sidewalk, 1.5 inches to 2 inches maybe. Out here on the roads, though, this is the important part. The folks in this county, in northern New Jersey, really know how to treat the roads. And we met one guy today who's been doing that for an awfully long time. A sleepy Sunday night in Morristown, snow-covered sidewalks, picturesque, really. But not for long.
We're just trying to keep ahead of the storm.
James Koenig has been pre-treating roads for 15 years. He's seen his share of storms. He's the guy making sure you have some traction when the snow starts.
I'm going from the Green to the Short Hills Mall. I could do 2 passes, but now they're telling us to go a little heavier.
That means more trips to reload, so roads like 287 can look like this for as long as possible. That also means a long night ahead for James.
We take a break for a little bit, let the plows do what they got to do, and then once they get it under control, we go back out, and then we start salting again.
Rinse and repeat, right? That's what they do here in Morris County. They treat the roads, they plow the roads, then they treat it again. This storm is just getting started. You can see what the conditions look like right now. Not bad. But as we head into the early morning hours and then into noontime, this is really going to get going. Governor Murphy has called a state of emergency for the state. That started at 7 o'clock tonight, goes through tomorrow. As you heard, take this storm very seriously. Don't be out here if you don't have to be. It's going to be dangerous at times. We're live in Morristown. Phil Lipoff, News 4 New York.
Phil, in a real team effort to keep people safe. Thank you. The coastline faces a triple whammy of heavy snow, powerful winds, and coastal flooding. And you're looking live at Seaside Heights, New Jersey, which has already had some snow on the ground and some snow and sand combo there. And we're watching the waves over on Long Island, too. News 4's Adam Harding live in Long Beach, where people are preparing for that triple threat from this storm. Adam?
Hi, Gilma. So the snow's starting to fall, but I want to tell you right now that the wind is the major story tonight, and that will continue to be the case tomorrow. We have, of course, our eyes right here on the ocean. Now, I want you to consider this. Where I'm standing right now, this area will actually be underwater if that high tide meets the storm at the perfect time, which is a major concern when you factor in not only the high winds, but also a full moon tonight. It's why these sand dunes are in place to hopefully keep homes nearby from getting damaged.
Tonight, power crews are on standby as the winter weather moves in. The Long Beach boardwalk now starting to get covered in snow. But the real concern appears to be Monday's high tide, hitting right as the storm is set to gain strength.
Are we more concerned about the snow or the high tide tomorrow?
The high tide. I'm never concerned about the snow.
What is the concern with high tide if it hits at the right time?
Well, you would get flooding coming into, especially parts of the Long Beach where the canals are, low-lying areas. All of Long Beach is obviously low-lying, but some areas are even lower and more susceptible.
Still, Mike Azzolini doesn't appear too concerned.
I'm all set for the storm. I got my shovel out. I got my salt out.
But with a forecast calling for up to a foot of snow and whipping winds, not to mention a full moon, the next 24 hours could prove dangerous for parts of Long Island.
The South Shore is beautiful, but they are going to be facing not only a tremendous amount of snow, they're going to have flooding. There's no way around it. And we're telling residents now to, you know what, make the precautions.
We're asking everyone to use caution. Please stay home. Let our guys and gals get out there and clear the roads.
And certainly that's the message tonight. Gilma, what you're looking at right now, that is the line of defense to keep those homes from getting damaged. And of course, as we take you back here a little bit closer to the water here on the ocean, remember a couple of hours ago, that water was further out. It's starting, of course, to make its way in. The major concern, though, is early tomorrow in the afternoon, late morning, early afternoon. That is the peak concern right now. Officials tonight calling this a perfect storm when you factor in the wind, the cold, the snow, the full moon, and high tide. We're live tonight on Long Beach. I'm Adam Harding, News 4 New York.
And those winds really starting to kick up. Adam, thank you. We're staying on top of the storm all night long for you, really over the next 36 hours. And we're going to show you the different impacts to expect in each neighborhood next. We're also following other headlines tonight, including word that former President Trump has a new legal team for his second impeachment trial after his first team quit. And flurries just starting to fall in Brooklyn. You are looking at new video from the Barclays Center. We want to see your videos of the storm, too. Just share them on social media and tag NBC New York. Our live winter storm coverage continues, and you are looking live at Hell's Kitchen right now. You can see the snow coming down, those roads looking slippery, and all those restaurants getting ready to pack up because outdoor dining has been suspended starting tomorrow. And we do have some information for people who use the Staten Island Ferry now. The city says it will run on a modified schedule, rides every 2 minutes during tomorrow's morning rush hour. Every 20 minutes, excuse me, it did sound rather fast. All right, Storm Team 4 is tracking this nor'easter for you. Matt Brickman's going to have the impact for us. But first, Janice is tracking where the heaviest snow is right now. Janice.
Well, we're starting to see some of that just behind us in this view over New York City. It's really starting to come down now. And I just want everybody to realize as we are here together, this is just the beginning of the storm. We're going to be tracking this, of course, for the next 30 plus hours, because that's how long it's going to be around. So with all that snow piling up, we have winter storm warnings for all of our counties. The only areas under an advisory is a little sliver of Ocean County right at the beach areas, because there'll be some mixing there, so you won't get as much snow as many of the other locations. But you've been getting some snow already, now getting a little bit of rain down towards Atlantic County and Atlantic City. Also, with this storm, as the low pressure center develops, will be coastal flooding. We know that with nor'easters. So we have coastal flood warnings in effect for the Jersey Shore as well as Long Island, advisories on south-facing shores of Connecticut through the Sound there as water gets pushed in with the circulation. It's snowing across the boroughs right now, and temperatures are in the 20s. The winds are starting to pick up too, now 20 miles an hour in some spots in Queens. And this is a view from EarthCam of Mulberry Street in Little Italy. Look, the snow's covered the ground, now covered the street. No one's out, so that's good news. Live Storm Tracker 4 shows us where the heaviest snow is falling in these dark blue shaded areas here. Union City, New York City, as we saw from the view, down towards Bay Ridge and over towards Coney Island, as well as Bergen Beach, East New York. You're going to get that dark blue band moving in your direction. Up to the north, Danbury, Lewisboro, Cortland. You can see a band here just moved over I-84, moving north through Putnam County and down to South Jersey. Around our radar site near Edison, the New Jersey Turnpike, also at the Jersey Shore. You go farther south, though, towards Beach Haven, Atlantic City. They're getting all rain, and that's to be expected with this storm as it develops and moves north. There will be some mixing of rain and maybe even some sleet at times. The winds are coming in out of the east to northeast now, and with a nor'easter, that's where it gets its name. Those winds are going to get a lot stronger stronger, though. They have gusts now to 30 miles an hour. Storm Team 4's Matt Brickman is with me to talk about what to expect next, especially those snow totals, Matt.
Yeah, you're seeing some of those deeper blues, those heavier snow bands. Those will pale in comparison to what we've got coming tomorrow, late morning, early afternoon, when those 1, 2, 3 inch an hour snowfall rates start to develop. Those will be paired with 50 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts, especially closer to the coast. That could lead to whiteout conditions, could also push a lot of water onshore, which would lead to flooding as well. You're seeing that rain start to mix in down south, which is the reason for that sharp gradient down the shoreline. Why spots closer to the city are in that 12 to 18 inch range. And as you head down towards southern Ocean County, it's closer to 1 to 3. The farther north you move along the shore, that heavier snow becomes more and more likely because rain is less of an issue. Still looking at northern New Jersey and then getting up into parts of Rockland and Orange County, New York, with 18 to 24 inches of snow. Already seeing some steady snow there in the city. Manhattan and the Bronx, 12 to 18 inches, and kind of the north side of Brooklyn and Queens. South side closer to the water might see a little bit of mixing in the afternoon and evening on Monday. That could cut down some of those totals. A similar story there out on the east end of Long Island. We're looking for some rain to kind of mix in late. These are our wind gusts. Right now, 20 to 30 miles an hour, but as we move into the overnight, those numbers go up. 30 to 40 miles an hour. Look down the shoreline there tomorrow morning, 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, and there's that heavy snow band just dumping snow right around noon tomorrow over the city, 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts. That's where we would see our whiteout conditions, 50 plus miles an hour along the Long Island area and then up into coastal Connecticut as that snow starts to taper off, rolling into Tuesday morning, or at least gets lighter. Flooding a concern here too. High tide late morning on Monday out through Long Island, moderate flooding expected there and along the Jersey Shore as well. And this snow I would expect to stick around for a little while too, with temperatures staying in the 30s for at least a couple of days. Bit of a warm up there on Thursday, and not to sound the alarms just yet, but keeping an eye on next weekend for the potential of another storm to watch. But we got to get through this one first, and we'll have heavy snow and strong wind pretty much all day tomorrow. Gilma.
Okay, Matt, thank you. Connecticut will also get hit hard tonight and tomorrow. Governor Ned Lamont closing all state office buildings tomorrow because of this winter storm, and tractor trailers being banned from several highways starting tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Only Storm Team 4 has the Tri-State's most accurate forecast, and you can get it whether you're watching here or online. Just download the NBC4 New York app to track the storm down to your street. We're going to have updates on the storm throughout this newscast, plus the latest impeachment twist for former President Trump. He reveals his new legal team after his first one quit. And fire and ice. New video showing the aftermath of that devastating fire at a recycling plant. Hotspots still burning 2 days later. That's ahead. And bridging the racial divide on coronavirus vaccines. New York City's new plan to fix racial inequalities after new numbers reveal a troubling trend.